It was a chilly evening in late November when Ethan Parker came home from work, tired but content. The streetlights had just flickered on, casting soft halos of gold on the quiet suburban street. He unlocked the front door, expecting the familiar scent of his wife's cooking and the soft hum of music she loved to play in the evenings. But that night, the house was silent, no sound from the kitchen, no lights in the living room. "Anna," he called out, his voice echoing faintly down the hallway. There was no answer. At first, he thought maybe she had gone to her sister's house. Anna and her younger sister, Lily, had always been close. They shared everything from recipes to memories, from dreams to disappointments. But tonight wasn't just any night, it was their 10th wedding anniversary, and Anna never forgot a date like that. Ethan stepped into the living room, setting down his briefcase. On the coffee table lay a small envelope, his name written in Anna's delicate handwriting. He smiled softly. "All right, Anna, what are you up to?" Inside the envelope was a simple card. On it, just 5 words. "Follow the candles. Love." His heart gave a small leap. He turned toward the hallway and noticed it flickering light coming from the floor. A soft glow, lending toward the backyard door. Candles, dozens of them. He followed the trail, each step slower than the last. The living room faded into the gentle orange shimmer, and when he opened the back door, he froze. The backyard had been transformed. Twinkling fairy lights hung from the fence. A small table sat beneath the oak tree, draped in white cloth and decorated with rose petals. 2 plates, 2 glasses, a bottle of wine chilling in a silver bucket. And standing beside it all was Anna. She wore a light blue dress that fluttered slightly in the breeze. Her hair loose, her smile radiant. "Happy anniversary," she said softly. Ethan couldn't help but laugh, a deep warm sound. "You did all this?" Anna nodded. "Well, not alone." Before he could ask, another voice spoke behind him. "Surprise, Ethan." He turned and saw Lily stepping out from the shadows, holding a tray of food. Her smile matched her sister's, full of warmth and excitement. "Lily," Ethan blinked. "You're part of this too." Lily laughed lightly. "Anna wanted tonight to be perfect, so I helped with the setup and the food. Don't worry, I'm not staying to eat." Anna rolled her eyes. "She's exaggerating. I couldn't have done any of this without her." Ethan looked between the 2 sisters, the woman he loved, and the sister who had always been like family to him. Something about the moment filled him with a deep gratitude he couldn't quite describe. He walked over to Anna, took her hand, and kissed it gently. "You always find a way to surprise me." Anna smiled. "That's the plan." The dinner was beautiful. The candles flickered softly, and the 2 of them shared stories from the past 10 years, how they met in college, their first apartment, the struggles, the laughter, the things they'd overcome together. At one point, Anna grew quiet. She looked down at her hands, twisting her ring gently. Ethan noticed. "Hey," he said softly, "what's wrong?" She hesitated. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you, but maybe after dinner." Her tone was gentle but carried a weight that made Ethan's chest tighten. He didn't push her. He smiled instead. "All right, after dinner." The night air grew colder, and Lily eventually came back to help clean up. She laughed and chatted like always. But Ethan couldn't shake the small unease forming in his stomach. When everything was done, Anna and Ethan stood together at the fence, watching the candle flames flicker against the darkness. "Do you remember our first anniversary?" she asked quietly. Ethan chuckled. "Of course. We burned dinner and ended up eating pizza on the floor." Anna laughed softly, her eyes glistening. "And you said it was perfect." "It was," he said, "because it was with you." Anna turned toward him then, her eyes holding something deep, almost trembling. "Ethan, there's something important I need to tell you before tonight ends." The words hung in the air, quiet but heavy. Ethan reached for her hand. "Anna, whatever it is, we'll face it together." But she only looked down, her lips parting slightly as if unsure how to begin. Behind them, Lily stepped out from the kitchen, her expression unreadable as she watched her sister struggle to speak. And in that fragile moment, Ethan sensed that whatever Anna was about to say would change everything. The night had grown colder. The last candle flickered weakly before dying out, leaving the yard bathed in the faint glow of the porch light. Ethan stood beside Anna, his heart pounding softly. He had no idea what she was about to say, but the look in her eyes made him feel as if time itself had slowed. "Anna," he said gently, "whatever it is, just tell me." She hesitated, glancing toward the kitchen where Lily stood by the window, pretending to tidy up. For a moment, Anna's gaze lingered on her sister before returning to Ethan. "Let's go inside," she whispered. They walked into the living room. The warmth of the house wrapped around them, but it did little to ease the sudden chill between them. Anna sat on the couch, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Ethan sat beside her, waiting. She took a long breath, exhaled slowly, and said, "There's something I've been keeping from you. Something I should have told you a long time ago." Ethan's chest tightened. "Anna, you're scaring me." "It's not something bad," she said quickly. "At least, I hope not, but it's complicated." Lily stepped into the doorway then, her expression soft but anxious. "Anna, are you sure?" "Yes," Anna said firmly. "He deserves to know." Ethan turned to Lily. "Know what?" Lily's eyes flicked toward her sister again before she looked at him. "It's about last year, when Anna got sick." Ethan froze. He remembered that time vividly. Anna had been hospitalized for almost a week after collapsing at work. The doctors had run tests, and while they said it was exhaustion, Ethan had always felt there was more to it. Anna nodded slowly. It wasn't just exhaustion. The doctors found something else. Ethan's throat went dry. "What do you mean?" "They found a small heart condition," Anna said quietly. "Something I was born with but never knew about. It's not life-threatening right now, but it means I have to be careful. About stress. About my health. About everything." Ethan blinked hard, struggling to take it in. "Why didn't you tell me?" Anna's voice trembled. "Because I didn't want you to worry. You had so much going on with work, and I thought if I could just manage it quietly, maybe I could protect you from that fear." Ethan leaned back, stunned. "Protect me? Anna, you're my wife. You don't have to protect me from you." She looked down, ashamed. "I know, I was wrong, and I should have told you sooner." Silence filled the room for several long seconds. Lily took a step closer, her tone gentle. "When she finally told me, I made her promise to tell you this year. That's part of why we planned tonight, to make it special and honest." Ethan looked between them, emotion tightening his voice. "You both knew, and neither of you told me." Lily nodded softly. "I wanted to, but Anna begged me not to until she was ready." Anna reached out and took his hand. "I'm sorry, Ethan. I really am. I just didn't want our lives to change because of this. I didn't want you to look at me differently." He held her hand tightly, shaking his head. "I don't look at you differently, Anna. I just wish you'd trusted me enough to share it." Tears filled her eyes. "You still love me?" He laughed weakly, pulling her into a hug. "Of course I do. Nothing could change that." Lily stood silently in the doorway, her eyes glassy with emotion. For a moment, she looked as though she wanted to say something else, but then she turned away. Retreating quietly to the kitchen, Anna rested her head against Ethan's chest, breathing softly. "You're taking this better than I expected." He smiled faintly. "That's because you're still here, and that's all that matters to me." But later that night, after Anna had gone upstairs to rest, Ethan found himself standing alone in the kitchen. The dishes were cleaned, the candles gone. Lily was there, drying her hands. "Hey," Ethan said softly. "Thank you for helping her tonight." Lily looked up, her expression unreadable. She needed it. "She's been scared for months." "I had no idea," Ethan murmured. "She's been smiling, laughing, acting like everything was fine." "That's Anna," Lily said quietly. "She hides her pain to protect the people she loves." Ethan nodded, then paused. "You've been helping her a lot, haven't you?" Lily hesitated. "Yeah. Taking her to appointments, helping her rest, making sure she eats right. I promised her I'd keep her secret until she was ready." Ethan studied her face for a moment, then said softly, "You've always been there for her. For both of us." She smiled faintly. "She's my sister, Ethan. I'd do anything for her." For a brief second, the silence between them deepened, warm, familiar, but heavy with unspoken feelings neither could quite name. Then Lily broke it. "She's lucky to have you. Just take care of her, okay? She's stronger than she looks, but she still needs you." Ethan nodded. "I will." As Lily turned to leave, she paused at the door and looked back. "There's actually one more thing you should know. Something Anna doesn't know, I told you." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" Lily bit her lip. "It's about what the doctors said. About her condition. It's not just mild, Ethan. It's more serious than she believes." Ethan's breath caught. "What?" "She doesn't know the full truth," Lily whispered. "And I don't think I can keep it from you anymore." Ethan's pulse quickened as Lily's words echoed through the quiet kitchen. The air between them felt thick, heavy, filled with something he didn't yet understand. He stared at her, barely breathing. "What do you mean it's more serious than she believes?" Lily looked down, her hands twisting the towel nervously. The doctors told her the condition was manageable if she stayed careful. But what Anna doesn't know is that they also told me something else, something she never heard. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. Lily, you need to tell me everything. She nodded slowly. When Anna fainted that day at work, she was in bad shape. You remember how long she was unconscious? Ethan nodded. Almost 3 hours. The doctors said her heart rhythm was unstable. Lily continued softly. They ran tests and told me that if she doesn't take her medication regularly, or if she goes through too much stress, it could become dangerous. Ethan felt his throat tighten. Dangerous? How? Lily's voice trembled. They didn't want to scare her. But, if it worsens, it could lead to heart failure. Not immediately, but it's something that can't be ignored. For a long moment, Ethan couldn't speak. His mind reeled, trying to process what she was saying. And she doesn't know. She refused to hear more. Lily whispered. She said she just wanted to live normally. She didn't want to feel sick or pitied. So the doctors respected her wish and kept it simple. But they made me promise to keep an eye on her. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, pacing. And you've been carrying this by yourself for a year. Lily's eyes glistened. I didn't want to. I wanted to tell you. But Anna begged me not to worry you. She said it would only make things harder. Ethan stopped pacing and looked at her, his voice rough. You should have told me, Lily. I know, she said quietly, but I didn't want to betray her trust. He sighed heavily, sinking into a chair. His hands shook slightly as he tried to calm himself. The woman he loved, the woman who smiled every morning and planned candlelit dinners, was living with something she didn't fully understand, and now, he had to carry the truth she didn't know. Lily stepped closer. Ethan, she needs to be protected. She won't admit it, but lately she's been having dizzy spells again. He looked up sharply. What? She told me last week, Lily said. Just short ones. She brushed them off. But I know she's hiding it. That's why I helped plan this anniversary dinner. I wanted to be close in case she got weak. Ethan buried his face in his hands, his voice breaking slightly. How can she keep pretending like everything's fine? Lily placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Because that's who she is. She'd rather see you smile than see you worry. He lifted his head, meeting her eyes. And now what am I supposed to do? Tell her, I know the truth. Make her feel like she's broken. Lily shook her head. No, not yet. Let her have her peace. Just be there for her. Quietly, gently, until she's ready to face it. For a long moment, they stood there in silence, both lost in thought. Then Ethan said softly, Thank you, Lily, for taking care of her when I didn't even know she needed it. Lily's expression softened. You're a good man, Ethan. You've always loved her with your whole heart. She sees that every day. He managed a weak smile. I just wish love was enough to fix this. Lily hesitated before saying, Sometimes, love doesn't fix everything, but it gives us the strength to keep going. The words lingered in the air, simple but true. After a moment, Lily began to gather her things. I should go. It's getting late. Ethan nodded, walking her to the door. Drive safe. Okay, I will, she said softly. Then, before stepping out, she added, Ethan, promise me something. What's that? If it ever gets worse, promise me you won't let her face it alone, even if she tries to push you away. He met her gaze, firm and resolute. I promise. When she left, the silence of the house returned deep and haunting. Ethan stood there for a long while, staring at the flicker of the porch light. Upstairs, he heard the faint creak of their bedroom door. Anna was still awake. He went up quietly, not wanting to startle her. When he stepped into the room, she was sitting by the window, wrapped in her robe, staring at the stars. Couldn't sleep, he asked softly. She turned and smiled faintly. Just thinking about how lucky I am. Lucky, she nodded. To have you, to have Lily, to have peace. After everything, Ethan's chest ached. He wanted to tell her everything, to beg her to rest, to take it easy, to stop pretending she was fine, but he couldn't. Not tonight. Instead, he crossed the room, knelt beside her, and took her hands in his. Anna, I'm the lucky one. She smiled gently, tears glinting in her eyes. Then we're both lucky. They stayed like that for a while, quiet and close, the night stretching around them like a fragile secret neither dared to break. But deep inside, Ethan knew things couldn't stay the same. And as he held her hand, he silently vowed that no matter what came next, he would protect her, even from the truth she didn't want to face. The next few days passed quietly. On the surface, everything seemed normal. Anna laughed at Ethan's jokes, cooked breakfast every morning, and hummed along to her favorite songs while watering the plants. But Ethan noticed the small things. The way her hands sometimes trembled when she lifted her coffee cup, the faint shadows beneath her eyes, the pauses between her breaths when she climbed the stairs. Each moment chipped away at him. He wanted to confront her, to tell her he knew the truth, but Lily's words echoed in his mind. Let her have her peace. So he stayed quiet, pretending not to notice, while his heart grew heavier each day. One evening, Anna was sitting on the porch, watching the sunset when Ethan joined her. The light painted her face in soft shades of gold and rose. She smiled faintly. Do you ever think about how fast time goes by? Every day, he said. It feels like yesterday we were still figuring life out, she whispered. And now, here we are 10 years later, still standing. He reached for her hand. We're not just standing, Anna. We're stronger than we've ever been. She smiled at that, but her eyes held a quiet sadness. You always say the right things. They sat together for a long time, saying nothing more. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of pine and rain. When night fell, Anna went inside to rest early. Ethan stayed on the porch, his thoughts restless. That was when his phone buzzed a message from Lily. Lily, can you call me? It's about Anna. Ethan's heart dropped. He stepped inside and called immediately. Lily, what's wrong? Her voice was tense. I just got a call from her doctor. She missed her last checkup and, apparently, she hasn't been refilling her medication regularly. Ethan froze. What? She told me she's fine. I know, Lily said quickly, but she's not being honest. I think she's trying to hide how bad she's been feeling. Ethan's grip tightened on the phone. I'll talk to her. Tonight. Be gentle, Lily urged. You know how she is. She tried to protect you from everything, even herself. When he hung up, Ethan stood still for a long moment, trying to steady his breathing. Then he went upstairs. Anna was sitting on the edge of the bed, reading a small photo album. When she looked up and saw his face, her smile faded. What's wrong? She asked softly. Ethan walked closer. Why didn't you tell me you've been skipping your medication? She froze. Who told you that? Lily, he said quietly. She got a call from your doctor. Anna sighed, closing the album. Ethan, I didn't want to worry you. He sat down beside her. You can't keep doing this, Anna. You can't protect me by hurting yourself. Her eyes shimmered. You don't understand. Every time I take those pills, I feel like I'm admitting something's wrong with me, like I'm broken. You're not broken, he said, his voice shaking. You're human, and I'd rather face the truth with you than pretend everything's fine until it's too late. Tears filled her eyes. Ethan, please don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you're scared to lose me. He swallowed hard. Because I am. Anna turned away, wiping her eyes. I just wanted one more year without hospitals, without feeling like a patient. I wanted us to have memories that weren't made out of fear. He reached out, turning her face toward him. We can still have that, Anna. But only if you take care of yourself. For a long moment, she didn't answer. Then she nodded slowly. Okay, I'll take them. I promise. Ethan hugged her tightly, feeling her heart beat against his chest, uneven, but alive. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay awake, listening to her soft breathing beside him, counting every second, every breath. Then just after 2 a.m, he felt her move. He turned, half asleep. Anna, no response. Her breathing sounded different. Shallow, rapid. He sat up instantly. Anna. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused. Ethan, she whispered weakly. Panic surged through him. Hey, stay with me, okay? Breathe slowly. I'm right here. But her body went limp. Anna. He called emergency services, his hands trembling as he followed the operator's instructions. Within minutes, the sound of sirens filled the quiet street. Lily arrived just as they were loading Anna into the ambulance, her face pale and stricken. What happened? She collapsed, Ethan said hoarsely. She stopped responding. Lily grabbed his arm. Get in, go with her. He did. The ride to the hospital felt endless, the flashing red lights painting everything in chaos. Ethan held Anna's hand the whole way, whispering her name over and over. When they arrived, the doctors rushed her into the emergency room. Ethan wasn't allowed inside. He stood in the hallway with Lily, his hands shaking uncontrollably. She promised me she'd take the medication, he whispered. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She probably thought she had more time. Minutes turned to hours. The waiting room clock ticked louder than his heartbeat. Finally, a doctor came out, his expression calm but grave. Mr. Parker. Ethan stood instantly. Yes, please, tell me she's okay. The doctor hesitated, then said quietly, we've stabilized her for now, but her condition has worsened. She'll need ongoing treatment and She's going to need a lot of rest. Ethan exhaled sharply, tears blurring his vision. Thank you. Can I see her? Just for a moment, the doctor said gently. When Ethan stepped into the room, Anna looked fragile but peaceful. Her eyes fluttered open as he sat beside her. Hey, she whispered faintly. He smiled through his tears. You scared me. Sorry, she breathed. Guess I'm not as strong as I thought. He shook his head, holding her hand. You're the strongest person I know, but you don't have to do it alone anymore. Her lips curved into a soft, tired smile. You're still here? Always, he whispered. I'm not going anywhere. But as the monitors beeped steadily beside her, he knew deep down that their lives would never be the same again, and neither of them realized this night would mark the beginning of a promise that would test everything they believed about love, family, and faith. The sterile scent of antiseptic hung in the hospital air as dawn broke across the horizon. Ethan sat by Anna's bedside, her hand clasped gently in his. Machines hummed softly around them, marking each fragile beat of her heart. He hadn't slept in nearly a day. Every few minutes, he glanced up at the monitor just to make sure it was still beeping. Anna stirred faintly, her voice weak but steady. You're still here. He smiled, weary but sincere. You didn't really think I'd leave, did you? She gave a faint laugh that ended in a small cough. You look exhausted. I'll rest when you're home, he said softly. Anna turned her head slightly, her eyes glistening. I'm sorry, Ethan. I should have told you everything sooner. He squeezed her hand. We can't change what's already done. All we can do now is move forward, together. She looked at him for a long moment, then whispered, You're too good to me. He smiled faintly. No, I just love you too much to stop fighting. The door opened quietly, and Lily stepped in, holding a cup of coffee. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but she tried to smile. Morning. Hey, Ethan said, standing. Any news? Lily nodded. The doctors said she need to stay for a few days. After that, they'll start her on a new medication. Stronger, but it should help. Anna smiled faintly. See, I'm not done yet. Lily walked closer, setting the coffee down beside Ethan. You gave us all quite a scare, you know. I didn't mean to, Anna murmured. Lily's expression softened. I know, just don't do it again. Okay. The sisters exchanged a quiet, laugh, small, fragile, but full of love, as the morning light streamed through the blinds. Ethan looked at both of them and realized something had changed. The fear that had hovered over them for months was still there, but so was something else. Strength. Hope. Later that day, when the nurses came to check her vitals, Anna fell asleep again. Lily and Ethan stepped outside into the corridor. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Ethan said softly, I don't think I've ever been that scared in my life. Lily nodded. I know. I thought we were going to lose her. He rubbed his face, sighing deeply. Thank you for being here. I don't know how I would have gotten through this without you. You don't have to thank me, she said. She's my sister. I'd do anything for her. He looked at her, his eyes tired but grateful. You really love her. Lily smiled sadly. More than she knows. They stood there in silence, watching the sun climb higher through the hospital window. Over the next few days, Anna grew stronger. The color slowly returned to her cheeks, and her laughter, soft and genuine, filled the room once again. Ethan was there every moment, reading to her, holding her hand, and promising her that things would get better. And Lily, true to her nature, handled everything else, talking with doctors, managing the paperwork, making sure Ethan ate and rested. Together, they formed an unspoken circle of care around the woman they both loved. On the 5th day, the doctor finally said the words Ethan had been praying for. She's stable enough to go home. Tears filled Ethan's eyes as he thanked the staff. When he turned to Anna, she smiled, that same warm smile he had fallen in love with 10 years ago. I told you I'd make it, she whispered. He laughed through his tears. Yeah, but you nearly gave me a heart attack in the process. She chuckled softly. Guess that makes us even. That evening, when they arrived home, the house felt different. The flickering candlelight from their anniversary dinner was gone, replaced by the soft stillness of gratitude. Anna sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, her head resting on Ethan's shoulder. Lily brought them tea and sat opposite them, watching the quiet affection between them. For the first time in a long while, there was no pretense, just truth, love, and the shared relief of another chance. Anna turned to her sister and said, Thank you for everything. I know you've done more for me than I can ever repay. Lily smiled gently. You don't owe me anything, Anna. Just promise me you'll take care of yourself. Anna nodded. I promise. Then she looked up at Ethan, her eyes shining. And you. Thank you for not giving up on me. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. Never? The three of them sat there quietly, the room filled with a peaceful stillness that came only after surviving something painful together. Later that night, as the sisters talked softly by the fireplace, Ethan stood by the window, looking out at the same backyard where the candles once burned. The memory of that night so full of light, laughter, and secret Ferris played vividly in his mind. But now, there was something new. The promise he had made to protect her, to love her through every storm had become more than words. It was his purpose. Anna called softly from the couch. Ethan, what are you thinking about? He turned, smiling gently. Just us. She tilted her head. Good memories. The best, he said, and the ones still to come. Anna smiled, her eyes glistening in the soft glow of the firelight. Then let's make sure we don't waste a single one. He crossed the room, knelt beside her, and kissed her hand. Deal. Lily watched them quietly, a small smile playing on her lips. There was love in the room, deep, real, and unbreakable. For the first time in a long while, everything felt right, and though none of them could know what the future held, one truth was clear. Love had carried them through the darkest night, and it would carry them through whatever came next. The end.